to today's presentation. You're obviously not a golfer. Golf 101, an introduction to the greatest game. And so what this course is kind of going to do is just give you an overview of the fundamentals of golf. I'm going to cover the common terminology. And then we're going to kind of go over the basic fundamentals of the golf swing. It won't be too in-depth, but you'll definitely come away with some tips and pointers that will help you as you start to practice out on the driving range. I do need to note before we start, I didn't realize the security guard wasn't going to let us bring golf clubs in here. So unfortunately I don't have a golf club with me. We were able to find a stick in the back that I will use to demonstrate kind of some techniques. And not having a golf club won't be so important in today's lesson, just mostly because we're going to be working on posture, your grip, and just kind of some basic things to look forward in your golf swing. And so, as you can tell by the title, it's a reference to a very popular movie, The Big Lebowski. In the scene, a gentleman comes up and he's holding a bowling ball, and he says, "What is this?" And the dude coyly says, "You're obviously not a golfer." And so I usually think of that when people don't know what they're doing, and they kind of have some misconceived notions about it. And so before we go on to the next page, just kind of want to ask, what brings you to want to learn about golf and one of the greatest games ever played?
Well, I wanted to take this class to kind of get a better understanding of the terms and just the basic golf skills before I go out on the course and actually practice them.
Yeah, and I think it's important because a lot of people that want to play golf are discouraged because the game of golf has this aura around it that it's very high class and country club type style, but a lot of them are intimidated because they don't know what any of the terms mean. They don't know how to call and book a tee time, how to call and reserve what a green fee is, and stuff like that. So this course kind of is going to be aimed at them. To get some of that out of the way, golf is really a game for everybody. And it may be very hard to learn and it may be very hard to master, but I mean there's simply not another hobby that's enjoyable as golf. So we'll get started. Kind of go over the spirit of the game. And you'll hear as you start to venture more into golf that people talk about the spirit of golf. What is the spirit of golf? Well, golf is played without a referee or an umpire. So it's on the golfer, the player, to uphold the rules by himself, to make sure that he plays with integrity, because it's really on you to call yourself a penalty and not a referee or umpire. And the last one is show courtesy, respect, and sportsmanship at all times. It truly is a gentleman's game, and I and everyone else on the golf course expects all players to act like gentlemen. And so that kind of just is the essence of the game. And then, or as my golf coach, when I was in high school, I played golf. I've been playing golf for about 10 years now. And my golf coach in high school used to always tell us when we go out to golf tournaments or out to eat afterwards to act like you've been to town before. And so that was kind of his way of saying that's the spirit of the game. Act like you belong. Act like you're supposed to be there. You know what you're doing. Even if you don't, just be respectful, be courteous to everybody on the golf course, and act like you've been to town before. And so kind of the overview today, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to cover common terminology. Now, golf is notorious for having slang words, so we won't get too much into that because that stuff you'll pick up as you spend more time out on the golf course. But I will cover the basic terminology that you'll need to know your first time out. We'll discuss etiquette, which is very, very important in golf. And then, as I mentioned, we'll go over the basic swing fundamentals at the end. So terms you'll need to know, and I kind of tried to put these in order as you might come across them, but some of them are spread out. Green fee, this is how much it's going to cost you to pay at a particular golf course. There are some private, got to be a member of the country club to some fee or some courses. But most public golf courses will have what they call a green fee, and that's how much it is to play at a 9-hole, 18 holes, and we'll get into those terms later. A tee is a small wooden peg used to raise your golf ball off the ground. These are typically used on the tee box, the teeing ground, that kind of help prop your ball up for drives or your first shot on the golf course. The third is tee box. It's a designated starting area. Each hole or section of a course, most courses have 18, some only have 9, but each one of those 18 holes will have a designated starting area. It'll be a nice manicured tee box. It's usually marked with stakes or balls with different colors, and the colors represent distances. So, you may have black tees, which are the farthest, blue tees, which are kind of in the middle, and then red tees are usually denoted for ladies, and white tees are usually donated for beginners, and I usually recommend for you, those just starting out, the white tees are a great place to start because it shortens the hole by quite a bit. And then, we already covered hole. The official definition area on the course consisted of a tee box, putting green, and the area in between. So a hole you can think of as the starting area, the tee box, the fairway the place where you want to be, where it's closely mown grass leading from tee to green, and then the putting surface, or the green as we call it, is where where the cup and the hole will be. As I mentioned, the green, this is the part of the course and hole is designed for putting, which is a type of golf stroke. It is best kept area on the golf course. It's very tightly mowed. A lot of courses are known for having some of the best greens, and when that means that they're fast, they're smooth, no bumps, your ball will row end over end very nicely. Another area as a beginning golfer that you'll probably become familiar with are a hazard and a bunker. Now, a hazard is any bunker or water area on the course where if you hit your ball into that, it's going to result in a penalty. And a bunker specifically is a type of hazard usually filled with sand. Most of your courses will have these around the green area, the putting area, but some of your nicer, longer golf courses will have these out in the fairway, so you want to dodge those. But if you hit in there, most of them will give you a stroke penalty. And as you know, for golf, if you don't know, the lower score, the better. So anytime you get a penalty that ups your score, it's not good. A flagstick, or what we call the pin, is an indicator of the hole, and so it also tells you where the cup, where you want to finish at, is located on the green. It's removable, and it's often removed when you're putting. A putt, as we mentioned earlier with the green, it's a type of golf shot played on the green. The characteristic of a putt is that the ball rolls to its intended target, and so that's that. Kind of, this term's continued. Divot, this is a piece of turf. Whenever you take a golf swing, a piece of turf may come up off the ground. These should be replaced. Most golf courses, if you rent a cart, which is to drive around in, most carts will have a sand or a seed mix that you fill your divots in. And people always wonder, what are those, what's that sand in the back of my cart? It's designed to fill the divots so that it grows back easier. Because when you're in the fairway, you want that to be nicely, maintained area, because the fairway is where you'd be rewarded. You don't have any obstacles, bunkers, hazards, and so you definitely want to prepare your divots. And we'll talk more about that in etiquette. An iron. Your irons are any club with a thin metal club head. Most often they're numbered 3 through 9, and then you have irons that are wedges, but I didn't include them in the iron section because you'll just refer to those as wedges. Pitching wedge, sand wedge. The sand wedge is what you think it is. It's used in the sand, and then as you get more experience, you'll experiment with more specific type of wedges, like a lob wedge. That's one of them. Your putter is a club specifically designed for putting. It's usually heavier on the end. It's like a mallet, flat-faced, and it helps the ball roll end over end. this because we call them woods, but they're not made of wood. They're usually made of some kind of metal composite. But these are usually like you have a 3 wood, a 5 wood, and they're usually look similar like your driver, which are the big club heads that you've probably seen on watching golf on TV. They're a little bit smaller. The balls are designed to go very far with the woods in your driver. And that actually brings a good point. With your iron range 3 through 9, the lower the number, the less loft the club has. So the further you get along, the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the club face will open more, and the ball won't travel as far. So your 3 will go farther than your 9. Your 9 will spin more than your 3. Unless you're professional, you can spin the ball with any club, same amount, or not spin it. But that's going to be way advanced courses. And so that kind of just overviews some of the common terms. You'll definitely learn a lot more, especially a lot of the slang or the jargon of golf as you start playing more. The next area I want to get into is etiquette. Now, this is the most important. It's often one of the more areas that intimidate people because they don't know how to act on the golf course. But the first thing you should be concerned about is safety. Make sure no one's standing behind you as you swing a club, or they're not in a position to get hit by the ball. We'll go into this a little bit later down here, but the call of warning for golf, so if I hit a ball and it's going towards a group of players, I want to yell 4. Another safety concern is just, players should not play until the players in front are out of range. This is very, very common, especially, you may get a group of players that aren't well versed in etiquette. You may be on the green or in the fairway and they're tired of you playing slow, which is what we'll address pace of play later on, but they may hit into you. That is one of the common rules that's a breach, and it's just completely uncalled for on the golf course. So you definitely don't want to hit into the group in front of you. You want to give them time to move. Another area is consideration for other players. As we mentioned just before, you don't want to hit into another group. You should not disturb players. As you know, in golf, if you've watched golf tournaments on TV, they'll have signs that they hold up, that say quiet. So you want to make sure everybody's quiet, not talking, making any unnecessary noises when each player's getting ready to hit their ball. On the tee box, a player should not tee his ball until it is turn to play. I didn't want to include this one, but for beginners, it's definitely noted. While you're waiting and your buddies, you're waiting for that group to get out of the way in the front, you don't want to go up and tee your ball if someone else already has their ball teed into the ground, which is that wooden peg propped up on there. Don't want to do that. It's not very nice. Don't stand too close to or directly behind someone getting ready to play. You don't want to be in their field of vision. That's definitely a faux pas. And on the putting green, as I mentioned, you shouldn't stand in the player's line of putt. If you notice, as again on golf, if someone's reading the line of the slope of the green, and if players want to get their read, they'll walk behind them. You don't want to walk in between them and the hole, because you don't want to. Golf shoes have spikes. You don't want to leave spike marks in front where if the ball hits, it may knock it off of its line. And this one is especially important when I played golf in high school. Be respectful. If you make a long putt and everybody else is still waiting to go, you don't want to just walk off to the next hole until everybody's finished. And that's just common courtesy for your other players. And then, as I mentioned before, the divots and stuff, the terminology, that goes well into care of the course. Bunkers, if you hit in a bunker, which you will as being a new golfer, I spent a lot of time when I was learning, there's a rake nearby, and you want to be sure you rake and smooth over all holes and footprints. You want to make sure you leave it manicured for the next person that is so unlucky to end up in there. Divots, repair your divots and ball marks. These are very important, as I mentioned earlier. Divots on the fairway, because it helps the grass grow back. Just grab it, stop on it. Or, if they provide you with seed or sand mix, you want to fill that hole. Ball marks, especially as you get better, you're going to start spinning the ball more. And so whenever you hit the green and and you spin the ball, most likely it's going to create a ball mark on the golf course or on the green. It's going to make a little dent, and you want to just kind of smash that down flat, just as you would a divot. And preventing unnecessary damage. This kind of goes back to just the sportsmanship of the game. You know, don't smash your club down. Don't throw your club. You know, it's just not good sportsmanship. It's just not courtesy. And it damages the course, which is, you know, uncalled for. I think one point my golf coach used to say is that, you know, as golfers, as recreational golfers, you know, we have no right to get mad on a golf course because we don't practice nearly as much as the pros do. So if we spend tens of thousands of hours practicing and we hit a bad shot, then, you know, we may be forgiven for having a little outburst, though it's still not called for. Pace of play, as I mentioned earlier, hitting into the group in front of you, you don't want to do that. But a rule of thumb is, you know, stay up ahead within the group that's playing in front of you. So, you know, you should be ready to, you know, tee off or start the hole as they're leaving the fairway, getting onto the green. And then you should be ready to kind of putt and get off the green as they're, you know, leaving from the next hole. You want to kind of just keep them inside. That way the group behind you isn't slowed down. But if they are, you know, keep common sense in mind, let them pass. You're all out there to have fun, enjoy the day. You're not there to start fights, you know, make enemies. So definitely be ready to play when it's your turn. And if, you know, as beginning golfer, when I started playing, I would constantly let people pass because, you know, I was working on my swing. I was taking extra time. I didn't want to penalize other people that have already been playing and that would play through much quicker. It's definitely best to let them pass. And so the review for that is just simple. Be courteous, be respectful, be mindful, and have fun, because that's why you came here to learn how to play golf, is you want to have fun. You don't want to, you know, go out there and have a bad time. And, you know, golf's going to be a hard sport to learn. You're not going to hit the balls like you want to the first time. But just definitely keep sportsmanship in mind, spirit of the game, and, you know, when in doubt, ask questions. So with that, I'm going to pause for a moment so I can resituate the camera, and I'm going to kind of just point into this area here, and we can go over some of the fundamentals of the golf swing. Thank you.